but I shared the quote, and I think it's Warren Buffett that originally said it. The boat that you're crossing the water in is way more important than how hard you're actually rowing the boat. And I didn't really understand that until I started like getting into this business. And I realized like, if you're not willing and don't know how to work hard, you're never going to make it in business. But you can sit there and you can beat your head against the wall, and you can work and you can work and you can sweat and you can all of that. Like, if you're not in the right vehicle, if you're not selling the right deliverable, if you don't have a business model that actually has leverage, you can work twice as hard as me and I'm still going to beat you. And it's going to be so frustrating. And so the interesting thing, Shane, I think we come from a very similar background. And like, dude, my parents, to this day, my dad's a farmer, and it's all about hard work, and it's all about how fast can we get the hay baled and all this stuff. But I realized like when I got into digital, it's not just about how many hours you can put in, it's about the leverage. And so Shane went from being the guy that actually has to do the work, that has to be, cleaning cat piss, and he made a good living. He provided for his family, but now he can make more money from behind his computer, being the person that's just connecting the customer with the company. But yeah, what I want to talk about really quick is you did the carpet cleaning business for how many years?
Since 2016, so just over 7 years.
And what was, if you don't mind me asking, like, what was the best amount, like what was the most amount of money that you ever made? And I'm talking about net, like what was the most you put in your pocket in a month?
In a month, just carpet cleaning, probably 7-8 grand.
Okay. And you probably, I'm guessing that's with staff, that's with how many jobs? I mean, you probably worked your tail off that month. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of, I'll say this. There was like a 2 or 3 year period early on where we grew a lot. We were hustling. I was working most of the time, 5.5, 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours. Like we were working, and it felt great, and we were growing. And talking about the right boat, if I would have had that 2 or 3 year period with that same amount of energy, work ethic, all that, but we had a different vehicle. There's a bunch of them, but rank and rent included, I would be in a much better place than I currently am. And I'm not in a bad place. I'm really not. And I think that's your point you were trying to make earlier. That's what I realized is I am a hard worker. You got to have a good vehicle or you're not going to see the fruit that you want, for sure.
You know what's crazy is if we're talking about pound for pound hardest workers in the world, you know what place has some of them, maybe the hardest workers in the world is Africa, dude. Like, I spent the last 3 months going, holy shit, did that guy, I literally woke up and he was literally taking a hammer and pounding rocks, and I ate lunch and he was still doing it, and I did a call, and like all day for 3 months, I watched this guy do it. Who would do that, right? And the dude is making $1 an hour. I love the hustle, but that guy worked way harder than I did during those 3 months. And if we look at the amount of money I made versus the amount of money he made, it's not even close. And so the point I'm trying to make with you guys is, for those that are on this call or that will watch this call, and they're sitting there going, I've got this, or I'm doing that, or whatever, and they're looking at other opportunities, and they're looking at this, and should I do this? I want you to just really think about the vehicle that you're going to spend your life in, or you're going to spend your next year or 6 months or 5 years in. Does that vehicle have the ability to go at the speed that's going to allow you to actually make life-changing money? And let's be honest, you could have made millions of dollars doing carpet cleaning. Like, there are people that are making millions of dollars doing carpet cleaning, but you would have had so much stress. You would have had so many crews, and you would have had so much liability and insurance and moving pieces and parts, and you wouldn't have had the time freedom. You wouldn't have had the location freedom. You wouldn't have, it would have been so radically different in order for you to do it. And the chances of you getting to that stage in carpet cleaning versus getting there with this is night and day. I guess what the point I'm trying to make is, when I started out doing door-to-door sales, that was a great cash flow, man. I was making $150,000 a year. But I realized as I sat there and looked at it, I can't work that much harder than I already am. I'm already working harder than everybody in my office. I'm knocking 5 extra doors after dark. I'm getting the police called on me. I'm giving up time with my family, and I'm not going to magically go make $1 million next year. I might get to 200, but I'm gonna have to work twice as hard. And that's when I realized, I got to get out of this, and I need to make sure that the thing that I get into has leverage. And then I got into that, and then it was just this evolution. And so what I need you guys to realize is, as you are considering getting into this business, and the reason we're talking about this is because this is the free group. This is the group where some of you guys have never even started this business. Some of you guys are just in here peeking around. Some of you in here going, is this a viable business? Is this a business that I should do? And I'm here to show you like this is somebody who was the contractor, saw the writing on the wall and went, dude, I can literally make at least the same amount of money with a way better lifestyle. So let's talk about, 7 years later, 8 years later, what was it, a month ago? You actually just barely sold the company.
Yeah, so less than a month ago, I've been out of it 100%. And it's a weird feeling.
I mean, here's one thing that people have to, like, when you're used to manual labor or you're used to doing that, there is something to be said about waking up, doing hard physical labor, and like at night taking a shower and laying in bed. Like even when I knocked door to door or worked on the farm, like it feels good, right? Because you're like, I got something done. But the truth is, you can trick yourself and like your body might be tired, but you didn't add anything to your bank account. So you have to be careful of like, just because it required a lot of physical labor doesn't mean you actually were productive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm that way too. Like I love that feeling of, especially like being able to go see something that you've built. And that's been a challenge for me because I've got employees now and people building websites for me. I don't do that anymore, cold callers. And it's a weird feeling when, you're doing whatever. Like yesterday, some of my VAs that I have, like they're in the Philippines, it's not freaking 4th of July for them. So they were still working. Yep. And that's a weird feeling, like you're out doing whatever, yet things are still getting done. Yeah, and that's been an adjustment. It's definitely been a weird month.